Hi, everybody. Wow. The internet is all abuzz because the PBD is making the circuit right now because he slammed Pierre Poilievre. Now, PBD, if you don't know him, well, I don't know. Everybody seems to know him now. He's an entrepreneur and a businessman. He's got this very successful podcast. A lot of people follow him. And he's kind of like the center kind of moderator, and he has his regulars on the side. And I used to watch the show, and now I've just kind of gone off of it. Well, before this, I just stopped watching. Two things. I don't think that PBD is the world's greatest interviewer. I think sometimes he's not listening. I can just tell he's not listening. By his next question, you can tell that he didn't hear the answer. And also, I don't like people who are like typing on their computers and stuff while they're interviewing other people. I don't like that. If you're interviewing someone, you should be laser focused on them. That way you don't need a big list of questions. You can just go, right? So I don't think he's the world's greatest interviewer. And I remember once watching Cuba Gooding Jr. He interviewed him, and Cuba literally said, "You don't listen." And I was so like, wow, he just said that, and they left it in the show. They didn't cut it out because he clearly wasn't listening, and he got called out on that. So I've gone sour from PBD because after I saw him interview Anneke Lucas, that did it for me. I couldn't watch him anymore after that, and I completely and totally lost respect for him. And if you don't know Anneke Lucas, she's a child sex survivor, sex slave survivor, and she was sex trafficked, part of the Belgian network, and she told her story. It was really like, I commend PBD for interviewing her and bringing her story to such a big audience. I do commend that. And in the beginning of the interview, he was better. Had some kindness, but he still had a little bit of a coldness, like as if he didn't believe everything, she was saying, which is fine. You can be skeptical, but the way she was telling her story, and she's told her story on many podcasts, you can tell she's not lying. Those kind of stories that she has, no normal human, unless you're Stephen King, you can't make that stuff up. And so he kept saying, name names, and she did name David Rockefeller, and he was like, well, you didn't know who he was? And I gotta say, if you show me a picture of 3 old white men right now, I might not be able to pick out which one he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know who he is. I couldn't recognize him. And he was kind of getting on her, and he was getting on her for not naming the name of a famous celebrity who was sort of involved in this trafficking, a female who's still alive, someone very, very famous. And yes, I understand it'd be nice if she named the name, but she wasn't comfortable naming the name. So regardless of that, the way he treated her, how combative and almost abusive he became to her, just soured me, just turned me right off. And the kicker was this. After this, I've never watched him again. This is Anneke Lucas, okay? And this is the part where he's like, look, you said you were going to come on the show and you were going to say this. I was told you were going to say this, and now you're not.
To be fair, so the audience doesn't think I'm cornering you. You told Tony that you wanted to name names.
No, I didn't say that at all. He came to ask me if I wanted to. No. Let's be very clear.
Let's bring him in here then, because I'm not releasing this interview.
Yes, he came to ask me if I was willing to name some names.
So then Tony's going to be held accountable.
Yeah.
So let's hold Tony accountable.
Oh my God. This is at the end of the interview. This is like 1 hour, 43 minutes in, where he says, I'm not release this interview. Let's bring Tony in here. Tony, what is he, a good fella?
Tony, if you can come here, buddy.
Gee whiz.
Tony. Come on, Tony. So when you told me you proposed for her to be a guest on the podcast, you said she said she wanted to name names that she's never named before.
Dude, you're not on mic. Your back is to the camera. This is a stupid thing for PBD to do. Never, ever would you confront a guest like this. This is a guest. You treat them like a guest in your home. And look at these 2 men standing. Look at this, standing while she's a sex abuse survivor. You know, these two guys are bullying her. You know what I mean? There's something so distasteful about this, and you would never do this to anybody. Would you do this to a politician? Would you do this to a movie star? To say, "Oh, you said you're going to say this and you didn't say this. Let's bring the producer out here. Hey, why didn't you say this?" Would you confront anybody like this? Would you ever do this on network television? No, mind you, this is YouTube. Would you ever treat a guest like this? You wouldn't treat anybody like this, but you two jerks dare to treat a sex abuse survivor like this. This has got to be very traumatic. This is like, must feel very scary and triggering. Like, a bunch of jerks.
Discuss when we first spoke early on over a month ago. I had brought this up to you.
I don't remember. But I don't remember saying that I wanted to name names. I would never say that because that's not really what I normally would do. And you brought it up today. I thought you meant today. You went and brought it up.
No, I brought this up early on. I said, "Are you willing to come on?"
But I must not have answered you. I definitely did not tell you I'm going to name names that I've never named before.
Well, here's the point. The reason for it is like Tony has never misled me. So when Tony says something, I'm like, okay, cool, that sounds good, and I don't have a problem with that. But for me, it was, I've known your story.
But you're saying I want to come on naming names. That's not exactly what I would have. Would you say that I said I wanted to come on naming names? That's not really how I would say it at all. I was asked. I was considering it.
Tony has never misled me, and you are misleading me on my podcast here. Capiche? Capiche? Like as if it's court, like as if it's a trial. You're interviewing somebody. You don't come and bring the producer out and then confront the guest and tape it and then air it. If this was proper television, though I don't think that's a thing anymore, you would never do something like this. This is like shameful behavior to do to a guest, and let alone to do to a guest like this. This soured me from PBD forever. I completely lost respect for him. She did name names, actually. She named Pierre Trudeau. And she did tell a story where she said that Pierre Trudeau, there was no pleasing him if you were still, I don't know. I don't know. You'll have to watch. She did name his name. I'm not saying anything. I don't know. I wasn't there, but that's what she's saying. And she also said he was terrifying. He was very, very scary. And it made me think of Selena Chavez, the parliamentary secretary who did that interview with Jordan Peterson, who said when she got in a room with Trudeau, she had never been so scared of someone in her life with the days that she was quitting. And it made me think of that, father and son. You learn from your dad, sort of behavior, certain intimidating behavior, or you take that on. I just thought she named the names.
Misled me. So when Tony says something, I'm like, okay, cool, that sounds good, and I don't have a problem with that. But for me, it was, I've known your story.
But you're saying I want to come on naming names. That's not exactly what I would.
Yeah. Only reason I want to qualify this, because that's questioning the integrity of the interviewer, which is me. I'm not going to sit here.
Oh, it's all about you and your integrity. Oh, it's all about you, isn't it?
I'm not doing that.
But hang on. I'm not going to sit here and be cornered as if I'm cornering you.
Oh my God. This you are also a narcissist, aren't you? You are doing the very thing to her that you're accusing her of and acting like you're the victim.
No, okay, that's how it felt like.
Then you're going to walk away saying this guy was just I'm not cornering you. Yeah. I'm being told, hey, there's a lot of things.
You are absolutely cornering her, and you're doing it in front of everybody, you daft man.
And she's at a point right now with everything that's going on with Diddy, Epstein, all this stuff.
Whatever. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that's what he did to her. And after I saw that, I never watched another PBD again. But let's take it back to Pierre. What did he say about Pierre?
Here's what's funny. Think about who, as a world leader, has a shittier resume than him and a worse approval rating. The fact that people are done with him. Mm-hmm. And even with that, Pierre Poilievre couldn't beat him.
That's what's the sad part.
Well, you know why it's not sad? Because every time we invited Pierre,
we haven't had the election yet. We are prorogued. Do you understand? He hasn't. What do you mean hasn't beat him? We're still hung up, dude.
Arrogant, pompous team. The only podcast he ever did is Jordan Peterson. So let me get this straight. You saw Milei win because he went everywhere. You saw Bukele win, he went everywhere. You saw Trump win because he went everywhere. You saw Bobby win
He doesn't know when to switch it off.
because he went everywhere. You saw Vivek become a superstar because he went everywhere. And you don't, you deserve losing. And you didn't win.
No, we haven't had the election yet. Where's your little producer fact checker there? Bring him on out. Have him stand in front of the camera again and correct you. They're letting you down. They're letting your integrity down.
And I said that to Canadians who love him. The candidate you adore and admire and love doesn't want to work. God forbid he has to cross the border and go talk to other border.
Okay, I saw Pierre up in the north somewhere in, I think, minus 50 weather giving a press conference. I don't think he was in Nunavut or somewhere in the up north in the Northwest Territories giving a presser. He's done Canada first. Every time I turn around, I see him doing a press conference talking about what he would do with gas and oil and lumber and jobs and cutting taxes. That's what we were supposed to be doing, cutting the damn taxes.
Borders to bring attention. God forbid, too much travel time. He's got to eat his apple. He's got to eat his apple because he's got to get his apple in his.
Oh, yeah, God! You sound like he jilted you on a date.
And to this wacko policy by this wacko prime minister.
No. I'm going to ask the honorable leader of the opposition to withdraw that.
Looking at Greg Fergus, I was thinking about him the other day after Speaker of the House in the U.S., Mike Johnson, threw out Al Green. Let's stay together. Not that guy. The way he was like, order, there will be order. Like the way he says it, you just perk up and listen. The way this guy says it, Greg Fergus, is like, order. He's like a substitute teacher. Nobody listens to him. This is really funny. He doesn't have the command, man, that Mike Johnson has.
That term, which is not considered parliamentary.
Mr. Speaker, I replace wacko with extremist. He is an
The honorable member to please, I'm going to ask the leader of the opposition once again to just withdraw that comment, please.
Fergus wanted him to compel his speech. That's what he wanted to do, to retract the whole sentence. Anyway, let's go on. What's going on? Okay, enough of that. Let's see. So what else did PBD have to say?
Painting, not policies. He is Kamala Harris.
Oh,
Pierre, your hero that you guys wanted, does not want to work. I hope Canadians see this
God.
Send it around and blast him and encourage him to go talk to the biggest podcast in Canada. He's not too good for podcasts in Canada. He's only talking to Jordan Peterson. Go talk to the people. You say you want to be a man of the people? Go be the man of the people. That's what Milei did. That's what others did.
Pierre does talk to the people. He's holding rallies. He's holding events. He's with the people. There's numerous events. Your fact checkers and your producers are not briefing you properly because you're spewing bull, and that is affecting your integrity because you're misinformed. You sitting there going on and saying he only does mainstream. He don't do no mainstream. He doesn't even talk to CTV after they botched his edit. So I'm not trying to be a Pierre cheerleader. I like Pierre. Obviously I do, but you got it wrong. And I don't respect you now anyway.
Locked up behind camera, just talking to Jordan Peterson and mainstream type of people. This is 2025. A 78-year-old man did laps around you. Wow. And he went and took it from the other guys with all the games they played. You just want to sit there, play easy. Very disappointed. The reason why I'm disappointed is because I love the people of Canada. Mm-hmm. We have so many great friends in Canada. I have so many memories of going to Canada, going to Lake Louise, staying at the Chateau Fairmont Hotel.
Okay, PBD, you sound like he ghosted you on a date and you're super pissed off. I think you're just super pissed off because I don't know, I guess he put in his producers put in a request to interview him. Pierre hasn't said yes, it sounds like, obviously. And this guy's got his bee in his bonnet. Got a bee in his bonnet. He doesn't like it. And he went off. And I guess that's what free speech and having your own platforms is all about. Okay, let her rip if you want to let her rip. I don't think it was accurate, fair, or factual commentary. But it doesn't matter. That's my 2 cents on my little platform. Okay? So, okay. All right. So thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know what you think. particularly about the way he handled Anneke Lucas. You should watch that whole interview. It wasn't good. I personally would love to see her interviewed by Jordan Peterson, an actual psychologist, and he would bring such insight and integrity and heart to it. It would be fascinating. It would be brutal to watch. Like, it would make your heart break, but it would be good. Anyway, okay, if you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll talk to you this weekend. Let's see what's going to go on this weekend. Somewhere in that comment, PBD had said, you can't get anything. You got to earn it in business or being a politician. You got to earn it. In this country, this is how corrupt we are. You don't have to even earn being the prime minister. They will just put you in there, like what we're doing with Mark Carney. Not good, not moral. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next video.